say the words US car market, and you instantly think of big, powerful vehicles brimming with aggression and heft. Sales of pickup trucks and sports utility vehicles are soaring in America, with many motorists switching from saloons and smaller cars, encouraged by lower fuel prices to upgrade to a beefier set of wheels. But a quite different type of vehicle is speeding over the horizon: the electric car. Car companies are spending billions of dollars developing electric motors and battery technology, but they're not doing it to meet demand from consumers. Tighter emissions rules are coming in across the US, Europe, and other parts of the world. And because these are based on average fleet emissions, these new rules will require all car makers to sell some form of electric vehicles in order to comply. Missing the targets will incur serious fines.
Here at the North American International Auto Show in Detroit, the home of the US car industry, companies are showing off their latest electric cars. Their hope is to convince consumers to put aside their concerns over range and price and splash out on these vehicles that the companies so desperately need to sell to them.
The technology has come a long way, but there are still limits, with many of the cars available today needing to be charged after a little over 100 miles, while the availability of charging stations and the time it takes to charge are still well below what consumers would expect.
Automakers are throwing a lot of money and resources at developing electric vehicles, hybrid vehicles, electrified vehicles we call them, because around the globe there's a lot of pressure to lower emissions and improve fuel economy because of climate change. And at the same time, consumers, at least here in the US, are not buying them in any great quantity. That segment actually decreased. It's under 3% now. And we are seeing the biggest incentives. In 2016, those vehicles were discounted almost 20% from the year before. And the resale values are terrible.
Car makers are also split over what type of alternative technology to pursue, whether full electric, hybrid systems that use both an engine and a battery, or even hydrogen fuel cells.
Battery technology is still not quite there yet, although some manufacturers are starting to go to lithium ion. It's much more compact, it's much more energy dense. You could get more bang for the buck and shorter charging range and so forth. But there's still some challenges with lithium ion. Until technology jumps to the next step, I think EVs still be limited.
In terms of battery capacity, there's a high demand on range, but over the time we will overtake this issue. So looking in the future, and maybe in 10 years, we double the capacity what we have today, and we have intermediate improvements of about 5 to 10% per year.
But despite the obstacles, several markets around the world have seen strong growth. In Norway, the government has used the tax system to make buying electric cars cheaper than petrol or diesel models. As a result, sales have soared. In China, more electric cars are sold than any other country in the world, partly because the government offers heavy incentives to drive sales as part of a push to tackle the country's air pollution problem.
Who would have said that in 2016, the electric car market which has grown the most was the Chinese market? Okay, and it looks like 2017 is going to be another record year for electric cars in China. I'm expecting China to become really one of the largest markets of electric car, even though when we started this, we thought that the US would be the largest market for electric car. That's okay, that's fine.
Government incentives play a key role, but manufacturers still have to develop cars that appeal to motorists and get them to the point where they won't need subsidies to make them affordable. This is a huge technical challenge for the industry, but the clock to the new emissions rules is already ticking down.
If the car industry is ever going to be successful at selling electric vehicles in any serious volume, they'll need to win the hearts of consumers. That means designing cars that are comfortable, that are fun to drive, that drive a long distance on a single charge, that charge quickly, and that most importantly are affordable. Otherwise, consumers will carry on buying the cars they always have done. The very future of the car industry hinges on this question. Peter Campbell, Financial Times in Detroit.